guys, it's Sam, and this is another book chat on LGBTQ plus characters. In my previous discussion video about LGBTQ plus characters, it was more of a response video to Lucy, who was discussing how there's a little bit of silence in the reviewing community about when LGBTQ plus characters are in books and why that might be, as far as if people are intentionally leaving those characters out when they're mentioning reviews, or if they are all these different things. I'm actually not going to repeat all that because it's in other videos, so I will link that down below as well as on the screen for you to check out, because there's a lot of discussion in that video. But after that video, I listed off all the books that I could remember that I had read that included LGBTQ plus characters. Now, that doesn't mean they are LGBTQ plus reads, they just have LGBTQ plus characters in them. Some of them are LGBTQ plus reads and some of them are not, but I'm basically continuing that in this video. Last month was Pride Month, and then here in America, very recently, we finally have legalized same-sex marriage in all 50 states, which is amazing and incredible and makes me so, so happy. As you can tell, I celebrated that with some makeup. I wish I could wear this makeup every day. Sadly, my job does not allow it, but I'm very excited. Obviously, there's a lot of work to still be done within LGBTQ plus rights. There's so many things that we still need to work on, and that a lot of places in the world still need to work on as far as LGBTQ plus rights, and the work is not done there. But it is very exciting to finally have this milestone be passed, and now we can start working on other things as well, and it's very exciting. But anyway, I want to get to the list. So as I said, these are books that I have read since my last video, which I encourage you to go check out, that have LGBTQ plus characters in them. Also, before we get started, I want to clarify, because I didn't say this in my last list video for this, but that I am sort of assigning orientations to some of these characters, and that is a little bit problematic because a character may be attracted to boys in a certain book, but that is kind of a little bit of bi erasure because that character could also be attracted to girls. We just didn't see that in there. So my classification of the characters is how they were displayed in that certain book. Like I said, it can be a little bit problematic because there could be a character that's attracted to females or attracted to males, but there's a little bit of bi erasure in there because unless there is a clarification in there that this character is bisexual, it's hard as a reader to know that. But I hate to erase the character's identification because they very well could be, but we were just not told that. Or there are characters whose orientations are never told. For example, asexual characters, we don't really have a ton of canon asexual characters. There's characters we can kind of say, like, this character very well may be asexual, but unless a book flat out says this character is asexual, I'm not mentioning any of those characters because it's kind of left up to fan interpretation. So there are some different orientations that are kind of left out. I also am going to comment that it's a lot easier to find gay males in a lot of literature as side characters than any other orientation on the spectrum from what I've found and in the literature that I've been reading. Obviously, if you go into actual LGBTQ plus literature, more prevalent of all the different orientations on the spectrum is there. But within just mainstream literature and some of the books that I'm going to be mentioning, it's not as prevalent. So I just want to warn you that a lot of these characters are gay males because that is just what we see typically as like side characters and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm just going to get going with the list so far. I encourage you to check out my list from last time, and as I said, I'm just going to be saying the orientations as they display in these certain books. I'm not trying to erase anybody's orientation or make any kind of assumptions. It's just kind of what the author told us from these books. Also, I'm not saying that any of these characters are a good representation of their particular orientation or anything like that, but just that they are there in those books, because just them being there I think is important as well. And discussing if they're actually being represented well or not is a different kind of video. Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo has a lesbian couple that are side characters. Beautiful Disaster by Jamie McGuire has a gay male side character, but he's a very minor side character. Air of Fire by Sarah J. Maas has a gay male couple that are side characters. A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This one's a little complicated. People haven't really decided where some of the characters' classifications land, and I've taken a lot of what I'm saying here from what I've seen the author say on Twitter, but one of the male side characters could be bisexual or possibly even pansexual. The main male character in this, his identity is a little bit undetermined. We aren't really sure where he sits, but it could be bisexual. It's kind of been hinted at. And the main female character in here is being stated as genderqueer. Tiger Lily by Jodi Lynn Anderson has a side character who is Two-Spirit, which is a Native American classification on the LGBTQ spectrum. The Wicked and the Divine, Volume 1, The Faust Act, has a side character who is transgender, as well as a lot of the characters in here we're not really sure where they fall on the sexual orientation spectrum. They kind of, some of them seem kind of pansexual, some of them kind of seem like they could be bisexual, so we aren't really sure. I've only read Volume 1, so I'm not sure if a lot of this is going to be clarified later on, but there is some sexuality fluidity within this. Hopeless by Colleen Hoover has a gay male side character. Armada by Ernest Cline has gay male side characters. The If I Stayed duology by Gail Foreman has lesbian couples as side characters. Anything Could Happen by Will Walton has a gay male main character, and this would be classified under the LGBTQ plus fiction because this is a coming out story. I have a review for this on my blog, which I will link down below. The Crown of Embers and The Bitter Kingdom by Ray Carson has a gay male couple as side characters. None of the Above by I.W. Gregorio, the main character is intersex, and this again falls under the LGBTQ plus fiction spectrum. Alright guys, that is it for my list for today. I will be doing these videos about every 6 months or so. Whenever I have a big enough list to do them, I will be doing them. So comment them below and give me and anybody else any recommendations for other books that include people on the LGBTQ plus spectrum. I love to read about those kinds of characters. I love to have diverse books in my collection. I have a lot on my wish list. I have a lot on my shelves that I haven't gotten around to reading yet. So if you're doing recommendations in the comments, I might not necessarily respond to all of them because some of them I might know about or whatever. There's going to be a ton of recommendations down there and I won't be able to respond to all of the comments, but again, people are going to be reading them, getting recommendations for themselves. It's going to be a nice little awesome resource. So comment them below and give me any of the recommendations for books that are LGBTQ plus fiction and just general books that include LGBTQ plus characters. So thank you all for watching. I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!